Solving two-step equations with addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. So again, we want to use if you need to, which is helpful to some, especially in the beginning. If we use the idea of our onion, remember our onion, if you look at it from the middle, it looks like this and it has many layers. And we want to treat the variable as the center of the onion and then draw our layers out to here. And we want to remove the outer layers first. Work from the outside in. Now since we only have, if I split this equation into two parts, left side of the equal sign, right side of the equal sign, I have variables only on the left side of the equal sign, so this is where the onion can work since I already have my variables isolated on one side. So let's start to peel the outer layers off. Now 8 is being subtracted from this left side of the equation, so I'm going to add it. Since addition is the opposite of subtraction, so I add 8 to the left side of the equal sign. Now I add 8 to the right side of the equal sign. This goes away. Now I'm going to bring down everything that's left. The 2d is left, the equal sign is left, and I have negative 10 plus 8. Now I'll go ahead and use a calculator if I'm doing any kind of a calculation that it's involving positive and negative numbers. Operations with positive and negative numbers will be in a different podcast. So I have negative 10 plus 8, which gives me negative 2. Now I still have this over here. My variable is still here. And I have 2 and d right next to each other. So d is still the center of my onion. So I want to get the 2 to go away. Whenever you have a number like this, 2 right next to d or x or whatever number it may be, this always indicates multiplication. So we want to do the opposite of multiplication, which is division. So I want to divide by 2 because the 2 is the number I want to go away from the d. This causes that to cancel. If I divide the left side of the equation by 2, I have to divide the right side of the equation by 2. And negative 2 divided by 2 is negative 1. So d is equal to negative 1. Number 2. Here's the center of my onion here. Now I have 1 being added to this left side of my equation. So I'm going to do the opposite of addition, which is subtraction. So I subtract 1 from each side. This goes away. Bring down everything that's left. Negative 8c is equal to negative 3 minus 1. Let's go ahead and do that subtraction. Negative 3 minus 1, negative 4. So negative 8c is equal to negative 4. Now I have negative 8 right next to c, which means multiplication. So I'm going to do the opposite of multiplication, which is divide by negative 8. This cancels. Divide by negative 8. Now let's come over here and perform this operation in the calculator. Negative 4 divided by negative 8 is equal to 0.5. Now that's fine. We could put that c is equal to 0.5. We could also, if you're using the any of the TI 83, 84 calculators, we can turn this decimal into a fraction by hitting math and then enter twice, which is 1/2. Most of you know that 0.5 is 1/2. Number 3. Here's a little bit different. Let's make our onion. Here's the center of my onion. So still on the farthest layer, on the outermost layer of the onion, we have this plus 10, so I'm going to subtract 10 from both sides. And I have, bring everything else down that's left, negative x over 3 equals 5 minus 10. which is negative 5. Now, here we have x, or negative x, being divided by 3. It's important that you see that this could be written as negative x divided by 3, or you could write it as x divided by negative 3. We want to look at it in this form right here, because we want to get rid of this negative and the 3 all in one step. So what I'm going to do, since x is being divided by a negative 3, I want to multiply this whole side by negative 3. And by doing that, that causes my 3 and my negative sign to cancel away. And if I multiply the right side by negative 3, I must also multiply the left side by negative 3. And I get negative 3 times negative 5. And we get positive 15. As we progress further along in the podcast and in further topics in math, I will stop using the calculator for these types of calculations. So I get that x is equal to positive 15. And if you struggle with positive or negative numbers, then view the podcast labeled Operations with Positive and Negative Numbers. And the last one. Let's do this without the onion. I know that m is the center of my onion. I know 5 is pretty close to my m, and my 4 is far away. So that's what I want to get rid of first. I want to subtract 4. The reason I'm subtracting 4 is the number that goes in front, the sign that goes in front of the number is the sign that goes with the number. So this minus sign right here applies to this m divided by 5. Since there's no sign in front of 4, we know that that's a positive number. And since it's a positive number here, that means that it's being added to the left-hand side of the equation. So I want to subtract that. That cancels. Subtract from the right side as well. Bring what's left down. Negative m over 5 is equal to positive 14. Now I want to multiply by a negative 5. Because m was being divided by negative 5, I want to do the opposite of division, which is multiplication, so I'll multiply by negative 5. If I multiply the left side by negative 5, I'll multiply the right side by negative 5. And 14 times negative 5 is negative 70. So m equals negative 70.